If you've ever bought something you didn't need right after a stressful moment, that was not a willpower problem. That wasn't you being irresponsible with money. That was your nervous system trying to keep you alive. And I know that sounds dramatic, but by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why your body does this and why every budget, every spending freeze, every I'm gonna do better next time has failed to stop it. Because you have been trying to solve a body problem with a mind solution, and it does not work that way. I'm Janae, and this is the Ease Era, where we talk about what it actually takes to build a life that feels good. Not just looks good, but feels good as well. And that starts with understanding the system that's been running your decisions without your permission. Let's get into it. So here's what nobody in the personal finance space is telling you. Your brain has one primary job, and that job is not to make you rich. It's not to help you stick to a budget. It has one job that it's had for thousands of years. It's only to keep you alive. That's it. Survival first. Everything else is secondary. Now, when your brain perceives a threat, and I want you to hear me on this, it cannot tell the difference between something alarming and an overdraft notification on your phone. To your nervous system, stress is stress. A threat is a threat. So when you open your bank account and the number is lower than it should be, your body activates the same survival response it would if you were in physical danger. Your cortisol spikes, your heart rate increases, your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that is responsible for rational decision making, long-term planning, impulse control, all of that partially goes offline. Because in a survival moment, you don't need to think, you're supposed to act. And this is where the overspending happens. When your nervous system is in that active state, that anxious, tight, overwhelmed state, your brain starts looking for anything that will bring it relief, anything that will signal safety, anything that will quiet the alarm. And spending oftentimes works. Not because you're weak, not because you don't care about your financial goals, but because purchasing something, anything at all, whatever it is for you, it just triggers this dopamine release in the brain. And dopamine is a relief signal. It tells your nervous system that the threat has passed. You're okay now. You survived. And then the guilt sets in and the anxiety comes back. Now with an extra charge on that credit card. And then the cycle just continues. This is not a character flaw. This is biology. And once you understand that, you can stop fighting yourself and start working with your actual system. Now, anxiety-driven spending doesn't look the same for everyone. In my experience, and through the framework I've used to help women understand their nervous system wealth patterns, it shows up in 3 primary ways. And I want you to listen to all 3 and notice which one you recognize in yourself. The first pattern is stress spending. This is the most obvious one. Hard day at work, difficult conversation, overwhelm hits. And before you've even consciously decided to, you're on Amazon. You're in the drive-thru, you're in a store buying something you didn't plan to buy, and it feels like a treat. It feels like you deserve it because after everything you've just went through, why not? And in that moment, it genuinely provides a relief. Your nervous system gets the dopamine hit. That cortisol drops slightly and you feel better until you don't. The women who live in this pattern often describe their finances as feast and famine. There are stretches of discipline followed by blowouts. And the blowouts always happen right after the most stressful moments. That is not coincidence. That's your nervous system following a very predictable script. The second pattern is control spending. This one is a little subtler and took me a while to understand it fully, to be honest. When it feels chaotic, when things get out of your control, when you're overwhelmed by circumstances you can't change, spending can feel like the one thing you have agency over. You can't control your boss, you can't control your relationship, You can't control your health situation or family or even the economy, but you can decide to buy this thing right here, right now. That decision is always yours. And for your nervous system, that moment of agency provides temporary relief from the helplessness. This pattern often shows up as home organization purchases, planners and systems you will never use, new workout gear every time you decide to restart your routine. Anything that represents the possibility of control and order. It's not that you don't know you don't need it, it's that your body needed to make a decision, any decision, and it felt like it belonged to you. The third pattern is numbing spending. This is the one that lives in subscriptions, in small daily purchases, in scrolling and clicking and adding to the cart that happens almost automatically. This is not dramatic spending. It's the $7 here, the $14 there, and the monthly subscription you forgot you had, and the Starbucks runs, and that happens on autopilot too. This pattern is your nervous system's way of staying just stimulated enough to not feel the weight of anxiety underneath. It's not relief seeking, it's just avoidance. If I stay busy, if I keep shopping, if I keep scrolling, keep doing this, keep doing that, I don't have to sit with what's actually wrong. And the insidious thing about this pattern is that the amounts feel small enough to justify. But when you add them up at the end of the month, that number is not small. So, which one do you recognize in yourself? Maybe it's all three at different times. Maybe one is dominant. Either way, now you know you're not broken. You're just patterns, and patterns can be interrupted. I want to talk about why every solution you've tried has either worked temporarily or hasn't worked at all. You've probably tried budgeting apps, spending freezes, accountability partners, no spend months, the cash envelope system. Maybe you've read books and taken courses and made the spreadsheets, and some of it worked for a little while, and then something stressful happened and the whole thing just collapsed. Here's why. Every single one of those solutions operates at the level of the mind. They require conscious decision making, planning, and discipline to execute. And they work beautifully when your nervous system is regulated, when you're calm, when your cortisol is low, when your prefrontal cortex is fully online. In those moments, budget works, systems work, intentions work. But the moment your nervous system gets activated, the moment anxiety spikes, stress hits, overwhelm takes over, your prefrontal cortex partially shuts down. The part of your brain that knows about the budget is no longer the part of your brain making the decisions. Your survival brain is making the decisions now, and your survival brain does not care about your budget. Your survival brain cares about one thing, and that's relief, and it wants it now. This is why willpower fails. Willpower is a prefrontal cortex function. You cannot willpower your way through a nervous system response. It is physiologically impossible. So when you broke the spending freeze after a hard week, that was not weakness. That was your biology doing exactly what it was designed to do under stress. The problem was never discipline. The problem is that nobody taught you how to regulate first. So if willpower doesn't work and budgets don't work in the moment, what actually does? Regulation before restriction. That's the principle. Say it again with me. Regulation before restriction. You cannot restrict your way to financial health from a dysregulated nervous system. But a regulated nervous system makes financial decisions differently, naturally, without force, without white knuckling through every temptation. When your cortisol is low, when your body feels safe, when your nervous system is a ventral vagal state, which is the calm connection, clear thinking state, your brain can actually access the part of itself that cares about long-term outcomes, that weighs consequences, that remembers your goals. Regulation does not mean being stress-free. Life will always have stress. Regulation means your nervous system has enough capacity to process stress without going into full survival mode. And the most powerful place to practice this is in what I call a 10-minute window. Here's what that looks like in practice. Let's say the urge to spend hits you. You're stressed. You're overwhelmed. You're on the phone or the website, or you're walking into the store. Before you make the purchase, and this requires practice, be patient with yourself. But I need you to pause for 10 minutes, not talk yourself out of it with logic, not to remind yourself of your budget, but to regulate. 4 slow breaths. Exhale longer than you inhale. This directly activates your parasympathetic nervous system. It begins to bring cortisol down within minutes. It is not a metaphor, it's physiology. Step outside if you can, cold water on your wrists, a few minutes of movement, anything that sends a signal of safety to your body. You have to do what works for you, and it might take a few different attempts. And then after 10 minutes, you ask yourself one question, not, can I afford this? Not, do I need this? Those are mind questions, and they'll just spin. The question you want to ask yourself is, what does my body actually need right now? Because the spending was never about what it was you were spending money on. It was about the need underneath the thing. Rest, relief, connection, control, recognition. And 9 times out of 10, your body needs something that doesn't cost money. It needs to lie down. It needs to cry. It needs to call someone. It needs to feel like it's safe. Give it that first, and then see if the urge to spend is still there. This is not a cure. This is practice. You won't get this right every single time, but every time you interrupt that loop, even once, you're teaching your nervous system that it has other options besides spending. And over time, those new pathways become your default. This is how you stop the cycle, not by trying to be strong, but by being regulated. I created a free quiz called the Nervous System Wealth Type Quiz. It only takes 2 minutes. There's 5 questions, and it tells you exactly which pattern you are. You're either the freeze type, the fawn type, or the flood type. You will find out what's most dominant and how your nervous system relates to money. Because what I shared today is just the overview. Your results give you the specific path forward for how your system actually works. The link is in the description. It's completely free, no catch at all. Take it today while this is still fresh. And if it lands for you, share it with a woman you know who's been fighting her finances and losing. She needs this too. I'll see you in the next one, because this is your ease era.